Okay, so today we're going to talk about ions, but before I get into that, we're going to do a little review about the atomic structure and all of the subatomic particles because it plays into ions. Alright, so first off, let's do a little review. So I'm going to write down the subatomic particles. So we have protons. I'm going to write down the definitions just to kind of clarify everything because it's really important for this. So a proton is a positively charged subatomic particle. And again, if you know this, you don't have to write it down, just pay attention. So protons are represented with P plus and atomic number. Let's write that in blue. Atomic number equals number of protons in the element. Okay, so we remember that it has a charge of positive 1 and a mass of 1. Alright, our next one, let me move this over just so if any of you print this out, it's not, all over the side of the paper. So 2, neutrons. So neutrons are represented as N0, or N to the 0, and they are subatomic particles with a mass but no charge. So the way to calculate this one is you have atomic mass minus atomic number equals number of neutrons in that element. So both of those protons and neutrons make up what is called the nucleus. So that is the area of the atom that is positively charged and contains mass. So, oh wait, and I almost forgot. I gotta write down. So this has charge of 0, mass of 1. And then, again, protons and neutrons are the nucleus. So our third one is electrons. They are negatively charged subatomic particles. Okay, so these are represented with e to the negative, and in a neutral atom, so neutral atom, neutral element, the number of protons equals the number of electrons. So, electrons, so the way to figure out, I'm going to give you a formula. Even though, like, for a neutral atom, we know that they equal each other, number of electrons, because this is going to be important for ions, equals atomic number minus charge of atom. Alright, so this will be like your little extra formula for here. Make sure you write that down somewhere. And then for here we have charge is -1. Mass is effectively 0. 0. Okay. And then atomic mass is protons plus neutrons. I'm not going to write that down. Isotopes are elements with different amounts of neutrons. I'm not going to write that down. Alright. Now we're going to get on to ions. Let me see. Should I go to another page? Yeah, I don't need to for the definitions, but the other stuff. Anyways, ions. Ions are elements or certain specific molecules, which we'll touch on later, that possess a different number of electrons altering their charge. Okay, so let me move this up and get rid. So we have positive ions and negative ions. Now, I'm going to go on the next page to write this because I have a picture and it's pretty much a horrible joke, but you'll never forget which ion is the positive one and which is the negative one if you just remember this horrible meme. So I'm going to write it down first. Okay, so make sure you copy that down. And here, I'm going to paste that in. So if you need to copy this, just pause the video. But how do you tell the difference between anions and cations? Cations are positive. And then if you just remember this stupid picture, you will never forget which one is the positive one. And then you can just be like, oh, well, it's... Even if you don't remember that the anion is negative, if you just remember this is positive, the anion has to be the negative one. So, anyways, I'm going to go back up here and write a formula that we just wrote down. So for a neutral atom, we have number of protons. So minus number of electrons equals 0. That means that it has 0 charge because we have a +1 and a -1. So And when you add them together, you get 0. Because, yeah, anyways. So, this has less to do with the charge, but just so you know, if you have 1 proton and 1 electron, these are the charges, but if you do 1 minus 1, you have 0. Anyways, the actual charge equation is the one we're going to be using to solve all this stuff. So, lithium on the periodic table is number 3. This is our example. Okay, so on the periodic table in its ground state, it has 1 plus 1 plus 1. Because it has 3 protons. It has to, it's lithium. But when it's neutral, it has 3 electrons. So its most common ion that you're going to find is lithium plus 1. So this is where you're able to kind of infer. This plus 1, written as a superscript or an exponent, is telling you what the charge of the element is. So how would you figure out how many electrons you have? So we do atomic number minus the charge, and then we'll tell you the amount of electrons. So our atomic number is 3 minus a plus 1 charge, which is just 1, equals 2 electrons. So lithium plus 1 has lost an electron. So it would look like this. It still has 1, 2, 3, but now it only has 2 electrons. So that's kind of how you can do that very simply. And then another example would be like fluorine. So fluorine's most common ion would be fluorine -1. The atomic number is 9. Let me write that up here for this one. Okay, so for this one, if we have -1, that means that our charge is -1. So I'm actually, just to make this a little more clear, I'm going to copy the formula from this page and bring it over. It's going to bring that. Should be good. And we'll put this up here somewhere. There we go. That looks good. Alright, so, and then I'll move this down. And I'll move this down. Okay, so remember, number of electrons equals the atomic number minus the charge. So 3 minus 1 was 2. For this one, we have an atomic number of 9. So we do number E equals 9 minus, and we have a charge of -1, so we write -1. This would be a positive equals 10 electrons. I'm not going to do the chart for that, you just have to know. So I'm going to give you some examples to do, and I want you to work on your own. I'm not going to go over them because you guys need to practice them, but the answers will be on the notes, so if you want to check them, feel free. But let's write this table down so you can practice. So I need 6 spaces. Okay. So I'm going to give you some elements, and I want you to, and I'll even give you the atomic numbers. I just need you to do the rest of it. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to give you the atomic numbers because you guys have a periodic table, so I want you to do it yourselves. So I'm going to write down element, protons, and electrons. Wow, that's horrible. Let me see if I can fit that in there. And there's a will, there's a way. So we have N minus 3, O, O negative 2, Mg, Mg plus 2. Alright, so I want you to do these on your own, and then I will upload this. You'll have the answers online. And if you have any questions about this, please feel free to ask me. But that's it for this video.